This is the drive home with TT for the Mill drive home. Driving home from Elland Road, where it finished. Leeds United 3, Millwall 2. Well, we made them sweat a bit because, to be fair, the best team won today and there's no getting around it. We deservedly took the lead. In my opinion, first 4 minutes I thought we'd done pretty well. Then it seemed like an onslaught from there on, and somehow we get a second goal. And ultimately, you know, we gave them far too much respect, but it's difficult because they're a good side. You know, the movement and positional play and the runners at times was difficult for me to pick up in the stands, never mind the players on the pitch. And you've got to hold your hands up and go, that's a very decent Leeds United team going forward. I will say at the back they look very vulnerable, and if shown a little bit more composure, a little bit more adeptness around the box, we would have had 4 or 5 goals ourselves. Saying that, Leeds, if they'd have taken their chances, probably would have had 7 or 8. So you can't argue with the result, but you can, you know, like I said, if we'd have taken our chances, we'd have scored a few more goals ourselves. First goal, you know, I felt like we were right in their faces right from the get-go, but it's difficult to keep that pressure up. But we win a corner. The ball comes across from, I think it was Jed that took the corner to the back post, and for all the money it looked like Sean Hutchinson. No one was marking him. He just glided in at the back post, powered the header to make us go 1-0 up. And from then on, you know, I felt we sat a little bit deeper. Leeds had a couple of chances. Patrick, I'll miss 7 and score 1. Bamford had a great chance where the ball's pulled back to him on the penalty spot and he hits it straight at Bartosz. We then break down the left. Budvarsson squeezes between Ayling and Cooper, who both wipe him out. There was talk that the ball was out of play beforehand. It's difficult for us to see. I was a bit disappointed that, you know, with the ref, you know, he's given a few decisions to us in the first half. He's evened it up in the second half, but the absolute crying in the first half from the Leeds fans was something else. You know, that talking about the EFL were corrupt, and you do wonder that they weren't singing it after they went 3-2 up. So it's only corrupt when you're winning, obviously, when you're losing. But like I said, it was difficult to see whether the ball had gone out of play. It's a definite penalty as they're wiped out, as Budvarsson's wiped out. Jed Wallace steps up and absolutely smashes the ball into the bottom left-hand corner. The keeper goes the right way, and at that stage we're 2-0 up when Leeds were on the ascendancy. For the rest of the first half, we sat back. And like I said, the movement of the Leeds players was something special. It was tough to watch from our point of view in terms of, you know, you don't like teams doing that against you. But like I said, when you've got good sides like that pass the ball so quickly, they kept getting in down our channels, and we go in at half time 2-0 up, and I couldn't see us seeing the game out with any confidence. And you just think, if you can get to 10 minutes, holding them out for 10 minutes, but this is the 3rd game that I can remember. You know, Leeds 2 years ago, when we were 2-0 up at Elland Road and they scored within 30 seconds. The goal comes, and from a corner. It's a good corner in. I felt that Bamford had touched it home, being offside. Apparently the keeper's made a save, but I felt that Bamford just tucked it in from an offside position, but it's hard to see. And that makes it 2-1. And it looked like Leeds needed a bit of luck to actually score the goal, because they were creating chances, but they weren't putting them away. And then, you know, the ball drops to Pablo Hernandez, he's a cracking player, and for me the best player in the Championship on his day. And he's hit it. It takes the deflection off of Jason Mulumbe's hit. And when, you know, like I said, Leeds created their own luck with it. The ball goes into the bottom left-hand corner to make it 2-2. And then wave after wave of Leeds attacks sporadically, like a couple of times where we've broken away, and a bit more composure, like I said, and balls coming down from Wallace on the right, and just the ball into the box was not picking out somebody. Bradshaw had a couple of chances saying that, swiveled a couple of times and forced Casilla to make the save. But then the third goal comes, and it's a ball it's a brilliant ball by Luke Ayling, who had far too much time to pick out Patrick Bamford, who, like I said, he's taken 2 chances today, but he's had so many, and you feel that if Leeds are going to go up, his conversion rate has to be far better. But we started off with Bartosz Białkowski in goal. For me, again, he's signed a contract, and it's great news for us at the Den. I felt he's had a fantastic game. The 3 goals he's beaten by deflection, one in off the line, and the other one was a brilliant header. Other than that, I felt he defended really well. He claimed the ball on a couple of occasions really well. He's had to deal with a load of stuff chucked at him for wasting time. But I've seen teams do it at the Den far worse than what we were doing today. But obviously the Leeds fans created a great atmosphere. There's no getting around it. I felt we sang well in the first half, and then it was a realisation that it was going to happen again to us, where it's happened before at Elland Road. But the Leeds fans created a great atmosphere. But Bartosz done what he needed to do, and it's a great signing for us. And for me today, he gets an 8. In front of him, we had a back 5 really, although it was a 3 with 2 wing backs, and still they got in behind the wing backs. But we had Cooper, Pearce and Hutchinson, who tried to get out of the defence when they could, but probably didn't show the quality that you would expect them to, or hope that they would have, because of the pressure placed upon them. And all across the back 3, I thought they battled really hard. They tried to track the runners, but like I said, it was difficult for them. For me, it's hard to give them any more than a 6. Left wing back was Murray Wallace, right wing back was Marlon Romeo. The pace that Leeds attacked at down the wings made it so difficult for Marlon and Murray Wallace to get any kind of pressure going forward. And it's probably one of the most difficult games they'll have all season. It's hard to give them any more than 5s, purely because they were pulled from one side to the other, and whether to track the runner or whether to track the player on the ball. Again, Murray Wallace made a mistake, and Marlon done it on the other side. But like I said, it's difficult. I felt that we gave Leeds so much respect today. If we could have kept up the press, we could have given more. But ultimately, like I said, both Marlon and Murray get a 5. Then we go to the centre midfield of Ryan Woods and Jason Malumbe. They could just not get on the ball today. We could not keep possession of the football, and you really want your central midfielders to put their foot on the ball, and they just couldn't do it. There was just no space for them, no time. And that's credit to the press of Leeds, but you'd hope they'd show a bit more composure. I felt like our passing today wasn't good enough. Ultimately, if you want to get on the ball, you want to lay the player in running onto the ball, but it's up too often it was behind them. And I felt that it was probably Jason Malumbe's worst game for a long time. Ryan Woods picks up a booking and means that he can't go in for any more tackles. We probably missed Sean Williams today in the centre of midfield, and maybe Woods could have come off for Billy Mitchell so that Billy could have got stuck in, because Woods lost that ability once he got booked. For me, it's hard to give them even. Both of them again get a 5. Left wing was John Daddy Bedfarson. Right wing was Jed Wallace. Like I said, we far too often left them exposed, too far up the pitch, and Jed Wallace did look dangerous. I'm not getting, Jed has that ability to run at them. Again, his final product today probably wasn't the best, but the fact that he kept trying, he kept going at them, just the final quality wasn't there. But to step up at 1-0 and to take a penalty with facing the Leeds fans, and he's shown such maturity and such strength to be able to bury that. And at that stage, you'd hope that we'd kick on a little bit and maybe take the game to Leeds, but we just didn't. But for me, Jed Wallace gets a 7 for scoring a penalty, and for him looking like the live wire. But Foxton, I felt, won a few balls in the air. He worked tirelessly, but you know, there was just not enough, and obviously won the penalty, and for that reason I'll give him a 7. And then you got Bradshaw up front, and I felt Bradshaw, you know, it was an old kind of Gregory performance where he's put himself about, he's won a few balls in the air, he's so isolated that it's hard to judge him too harshly. And so for me, I'll give Tom a 7. Matt Smith came on late, and we tried to change to a 4-4-2 with Fergie coming on the left midfield. And there was one bit where in the second half, you know, you've got the 2 Leeds defenders looking really nervous. They shouldn't have been, because going forward they looked amazing, but defensively, like I said, once we put them under pressure, they made a few mistakes, and you just wanted Fergie to nip in and take the ball, but he didn't. Conor Mahoney came on, didn't make an impact at all. But like I said, I'm driving down the A1 now, and you can't say we got what we deserved. We did get what we deserved ultimately, and that's a good Leeds side that potentially will get to the Premiership. Who knows? You know, like I said, defensively they look vulnerable, and they're relying upon Patrick Bamford scoring them goals, and he misses too many chances for me. I know he's got 2 today, but he had 4 or 5 other good chances. We'll move on to ref watch. Darren England was the ref, and like I said, I thought we got an unfair stick from the Leeds fans in the first half. You know, they tried to get on top of him, and I think it worked. So second half he came out, and probably the 50-50 decisions that went our way in the first half went Leeds' way in the second half. Gave 4 minutes of injury time. The penalty he had to give, there was no real decision that I felt Leeds should have got that they didn't get. You know, there was talk of a handball, but you know, he's not even looking. He's not got his arm out. It's just hit his arm when it's bouncing around the box. So I don't really know what the complaints are about. But like I said, it worked because they got in the ref's head and made it difficult for him to make decisions. Certainly the linesman down our end, who didn't have much to do in the second half, obviously, because we didn't have too many chances. But now we go again on Saturday, driving back up the A1 for the Sheffield Wednesday game. I didn't expect us to get anything out of today. Being 2-0 up, you'd hope we'd get more, but it reminded me a little bit of the Brentford game where we were 2-0 up and didn't really deserve to be 2-0 up in that game either. We've got Sheffield Wednesday where you'd feel that we've got to give it more of a go. You know, we've got to attack more. We've got to take the game to them a little bit more. We can't be so defensive in our mindset. And if we do that, we've got every chance. I'm not disappointed with the players. I'm not disappointed in the way we set out, to be honest, because I feel like, you know, we give it our all, and we made them work. You know, we made it difficult for a Leeds United team at the top of the table to take all 3 points, and you can ask no more of a team that's not expected to be in and around the table where we are. It's always a good stadium to go to for Elland Road, and like I said, it's one of those old-fashioned grounds where we made a decent racket in the first half, pretty quiet in the second half. They shut us down. But we go again on Saturday. Thanks very much for watching. Put in your comments what you think. I'm not too disappointed. I never like losing, but that's a decent Leeds side to lose to. Thanks for watching. Like the video if you don't mind. No one likes us. We don't care.